good story. He said to move on and keep going. Imagine we had one more life, one more shot at sunrise. Erase everything, start with new eyes. Don't break the same tragic goodbyes. What if this was? Kept your coffee cup on my nightstand. Not to reminisce, just a reminder to never go back to a life we shared. Anytime I'm feeling the urge to look at a picture, oh, I get so confused. 'Cause I swear I am so over you. My mommy told me that we shouldn't worry. Daddy told me just a good story. He said to move on and keep going. Imagine we had one more life, one more shot at sunrise. Erase everything, start with new eyes. Don't break the same tragic goodbyes. What if this was?
1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John, you know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP the Ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up. Yeah. Come on. Hey.
It's October 12th, 2023. This is episode 356. I'm Eric. This is John.
Hi. This is weird.
To PHP Ugly podcast. We are a weekly podcast. We get together every Thursday night, 9 p.m., and talk about PHP, about running a small business that's dependent on PHP, PHP community, some drama every now and then.
What? No way.
Any other web technology and just technology in general we enjoy talking about. We are a man short today, but it doesn't matter because the show is just as good thanks to some sponsors. honeybadger.io and PHP Store, as well as PHP Architect, which is the company John and I work with.
Did you forget the name of it for a second there?
You know, I have so many PHPs in my life. I got to make sure I have a PHP roundtable on the mind because I have a roundtable to do tomorrow. So I got like so many PHP variations of titles in my head. As well as our wonderful sponsors over at honeybadger.io. What? No. I got distracted. I was distracted. As well as our wonderful sponsors at patreon.com.
Patrons on Patreon.
We're going to talk about all those wonderful people a little late on the show.
Eric Mann is in Discord pointing out the fact that you are entitled John on your screen.
Can't get anything past these release managers these days. Last week, Ben caught us on something, and this week
I saw you fix that up. Good job.
Absolutely, that's what I do. John, John is so good. We needed him twice. What? That didn't make any sense.
Speaking of, I don't know if you said it. Join us on Discord. Discord.phpugly.com.
Boom!
Did it. See, I'm here for you. Got you.
Yes.
Got it all set.
That we had quite the conversation in Discord today, and that I told John leading into this, I'm actually a little disappointed. It went a little sideways on me, but we're going to get to that regardless of all that drama.
Speaking of Discord, I obviously don't know the difference between Discord and Slack because I tried doing one of my everyday Slack commands of /Jiffy to quickly put up a GIF or GIF or however you say it, and failed completely.
Well, that's in Slack too. You just, your fingers went too fast, huh?
No, I did it. It doesn't work in Discord. I do it in Slack.
No, it's in Discord. It's in Discord. Giphy.
No.
What?
Oh, you have to go click on the little GIF icon down on the bottom right. I'm gonna make so many people mad because I'm gonna say it differently than what they want to hear it as, but
you can't say it differently. It's all correct.
had to go click on that thing and then type in what I wanted.
I got people taking pictures of me in my studio. You can't be doing that, man. This is
I told you to run.
Solitude.
You have people in your house. Run. Get out of there.
All right, so no Tom today. Tom, well, you know what? Honestly, I don't even know if he made it to Southern California. Last I heard, he was still in Colorado, and knowing Tom's geographic challenges, he may be in Florida right now. We really don't. We can't be sure.
When he went to book his airfare, he just pointed somewhere on the map. He's like, I think this is Southern California.
Is this sunny in Los Angeles? Yeah, that's where I want to go.
He's never going to live that down.
Nope. It's good. Oh, trust me. He throws many things in our face over and over. Speaking of Discord, you posted something in Discord. Was that in the Herd channel? That was the Herd channel. Huh?
It was.
So again, supporters on Patreon get access to a special channel in their Discord called the Herd, and John posted some stuff in there, and I'm not sure I understood what I was looking at. What was I supposed to notice? I'm not trying to like knock the guy or anything.
No, it's fine. I'm not. There's no names or anything. So yesterday I went flying, and then after I landed, it was my third flight, so I wasn't going to hike back up because it's a pain in the ass to hike up that mountain. So I was just on the ground. It's called kiting, bringing the wing up, keeping it over my head, moving around, just playing with the wing on the ground. And I happened to catch out of the corner of my eye one of the other pilots coming into land, and I turned to look, and he went to turn around a bush, but cut it too close. He was we often get lift off of that. Normally, as soon as you get near it, you go up. So he was anticipating that, cut it too close, and went through the bush.
Well,
that's
all right. So
that's why you hear me. That's why you hear me say, "Oh no!" Like it's you really need it full screen and like to look in that back right, but right there, he hits the bush, and then I see
Give it up! Oh no! Oh, his reserve.
Reserve. I
don't understand what did that mean? Reserve.
So after he landed, I was like, oh no, he hit the tree. But then I saw he kept the wing up a little bit, so he could have brought it back up and then walked all the way to where I'm at with the wing over his head. But we have a reserve parachute with us, so if something happens in the air, we can throw a reserve to just come straight down. As he went through the bush, it caught hold of the handle and pulled his reserve out of his harness. So it's trailing behind him. Now it's going to cost him $50 to $100 to get it repacked. And
oh, really?
Yeah, it's something you can do yourself, but you really want to practice it over and over and over again because it's your life, right?
It's one of those things you want to make sure it's done right. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So he's going to take it, have it repacked, but
when I first watched it and I heard you say no reserve, I thought that like that was a cliff or something. I'm like, it looks like he's still there. I don't know what am I looking at?
Yeah, he landed fine. So when I said keep it up, it was really just like recover. Like you can recover and just walk it in, like not a big deal. And then I saw that all of a sudden, you can't really see it in the video, but his reserve line was pulling as he was walking. That sucks. You stop it now before it gets bad. Wayne Life's asking how he gets access to the Herd channel. If you are a patron member, let us know and we will make sure you get tagged as such.
Yeah,
it's not automated, and we usually
it is automated. Yeah.
Is it?
Actually, they configure their Discord in their Patreon settings, and they slip right in.
I did not know that.
Yes. Yeah. So in your Discord, in your Patreon settings, there should be a setting there for Discord, and you just walk through. It's been a very long time. I forget. I don't even know what it looks like. There's some weirdness on Patreon. Let's talk about Patreon for a second, shall we?
Sure. What is the weirdness?
Well, let me see if it's still there. I say that. Yeah. Yeah, it's still there. This is new to me. Maybe somebody can tell me if this has been around for a while, but I guessed on Patreon now there is a free tier.
What?
So when I logged into Patreon today, it said you have 4 new free tier members. I'm like, wait, what? What is a free tier? What is that? I still don't know what it is, to be honest. I have no idea what a free tier is. But I also noticed in Patreon that you can now tie it into Spotify and you can release things that only your Patreon members can subscribe to through Spotify. So like a podcast. I mean, obviously we wouldn't do that for this podcast, but if there were other things we wanted to release, like maybe the after show or something, we start moving that over to Patreon or something.
Huh.
Yeah. So yeah, they're making some changes over there. I still don't know what a free tier is. If anybody is a free tier member of Patreon, no hate, no hate there. But I'm just curious, what is that like exactly? Like what does that give you?
What's it meant to be?
Yeah. Like I don't even think you can see the blog or anything. I really So this is so you have to join to unlock. Yeah, I don't know what it is. So, and I didn't care enough to to explore it. How was your week, John?
Oh, my week. It's a blur. There are a couple of major issues that I had with the client I had to work through. Wow, it really was a blur. You tell me about your week while I think about mine.
I had actually a fantastic week. I got to coding again.
Nice.
It's just my favorite thing to do. It really is. I enjoyed it. I even fixed some little annoying bugs on the PHP Roundtable. I should pull that website up for you guys. So when Sammy was doing PHP Roundtable, and when he had originally coded it, Mastodon, it might have been a thing, but it wasn't as big of a thing. So the little avatars for people on Mastodon wouldn't show up. And so I've been meaning to kind of fix that over the couple of years I've been doing PHP Roundtable. And I really kind of decided this week, I'm like, I'm fixing that today. Like it's not like it's very hard to do. I just need to take the time to do it. And I got that fixed. I got a couple other little bugs out of the way. So that's there. And we do have a stream tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific Coast time. So you guys can translate that to your local time zone. And we're going to be talking about a position in our industry that I've always been very curious about, the developer relations person or developer advocate or developer activists, or they go by so many different titles, but they're kind of all the same thing. And I never really understood. I was like, I knew who they were. I knew who the players were, friends with many of them, but I honestly didn't know what the job role entailed. So a few of them are going to pop on, and we're gonna hash this out. And I'm gonna see if I'm gonna go ahead and approve their lifestyle or not, and we'll move on. So if you're not doing anything tomorrow, pop on.
Do you want if you want another person? I'm sure I can get somebody on there for you.
Who?
Tim Lytle. He was.
Is it that's his title?
Not now, but he was at Nexmo, I believe, for many years.
Yeah, if he's down, if he's free, he does his podcast on Friday too, doesn't he?
He does, but it's earlier in the morning.
It's not very good. You guys don't need to give him any traffic. What's his called? I forget.
It's the Dev Friday show.
Dev Friday show. That's it. Yeah.
I think he's still doing it. Yeah, I'll send him a message, see if he wants to join you guys.
I don't know why it didn't occur to me. I need to think of a better way. Somebody had brought this idea to me, and so I kind of already had a couple people lined up, so I didn't really bother like sending out signal on the social media different areas and seeing if anybody was interested. But honestly, I don't really get a lot of luck doing that. Like I tried that with a couple of shows I put together, and it was just like it's just like a tough sale, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, see if he's free and we'll slip him in there. So yeah, did some coding this week. Probably gonna reach out to you. I don't know about tomorrow. Tomorrow's a nightmare day for me. Well, with the exception of the podcast, I'm looking forward to that. But I have a 2-hour client meeting with one of our clients' customers, and
Oh,
I'm
wow.
like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm going to talk about for 2 hours. I mean, can they just turn into the podcast and listen to me? Would that be? Is that okay?
Is it something specific that you need to? Is it you just listening and trying to solve problems that they're having, or?
It's very foggy. They specifically wanted to talk to the CTO for 2 hours, so it's a meeting targeted at me, and I actually exaggerated a little bit. They're not even a client yet. They're building to become a client.
Oh, wow.
So I even reached out to our client and said, "Hey, what should I do to prepare for that? Like, do you know what sort of information we're looking for? Because our field is massive. I mean, I have no idea what direction they're going to come at us for, asking questions." And she's like, "No, can just be there and see what they have to say." I'm like, "Okay, I can definitely do that." So, I'm not a fan of it, but today we had kind of like a project management meeting for one of our projects that we've been, I don't want to say struggling. We've been trying a new workflow with this particular project, and there's definitely things been misfiring on it. And so finally I'm like, all right, let's get everybody in a room. Let's get a weekly meeting on this particular project so that we can make sure we're working through this. And I think it was beneficial because I think everybody realized that like the communication wasn't there. Even their side, they realized they weren't communicating back to the developer the way that they should have been. Like they were all kind of doing it differently, and they weren't even following their own kind of workflow. So it was nice to get a lot of that clarified. I think everybody walked away from the meeting feeling a lot better about it.
That's good. Definitely been meaning to ask you about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I keep forgetting you're invited to that one.
I had my own 2-hour meeting to be part of at that time.
I tell you, man, it just so back to the event sourcing. I thought I had knocked it out of the ballpark, but then I didn't.
You realize the fence was moved back a couple hundred feet?
Yeah, somebody moved that goalpost on me because I'm not even sure what I'm doing wrong yet. I'm gonna try to take one more crack at it next week, tomorrow, when I have some time, and see if I can't fix my issue, because it just seems like I'm right there, like I'm missing something. I'm missing one thing, and I just can't find it right now. But I feel like I'll get there.
All right. Well, let me know if you need help with it. I will try my best, but tomorrow is not going to be a good day.
Yeah, but tomorrow's not a good day for me either. I'm going to have like maybe an hour or two here or there.
Yeah, I've got physical therapy in the morning, which means running back and forth, and then I'm going to the 90s hip hop show tomorrow night down in Sports Arena.
Is that still a thing? Sports Arena's still there? That's awesome.
Well, it's now Pachanga Arena or something.
Yeah.
But
somebody else's name on it. Yeah.
Yeah, but still the same thing.
All right. Well, speaking of,
Oh, I remembered the crap of my week while you were talking.
You want to talk about it when we get back?
Sure.
And let's go to a
Yeah.
let's go to a sponsor. I think we should run Tom's ads for both because he's not here. Let's start with our good friends over at JetBrains PHP. No, you know what? I'm going to do that one next because I have PHP Storm stuff I want to talk to, and I still want to get to your week. So let's do Tom's Honey Badger. I like his. Where is his Honey Badger? Where's his AI one? Here it is.
Folks, Tom Rideout here, and let me tell you, if you think listening to PHPUgly makes you question my coding skills, you should see my actual code. It's why honeybadger.io and I are such a perfect match, like peanut butter and jelly, or me and questionable life decisions. Listen, I don't need more pie charts to tell me how badly I've messed up. I don't want to go through a library of logs, deciphering them like they're the Da Vinci Code of my own failures. What I need is Honeybadger, the only monitoring tool that says, "Hey Tom, you goofed up right here, and here's how to unfudge it." You see, Honeybadger is the cool professor who tells you where you went wrong, but also helps you get an A in the course. It tells you not just when the sky is falling, but which clouds are actually plummeting, so you can fix errors before your customers even have a chance to mock you on Twitter. And the setup? Oh boy, even I could get it running in less than 5 minutes, and I still struggle to set my microwave clock. So be your team's knight in shining armor. Go on a free trial with Honeybadger at honeybadger.io. Trust me, it's like having a sensei, but for code and a lot less yelling. See what catastrophes you've been missing and fix them before you become the catastrophe. That's honeybadger.io. Get on it. Now let's get back to getting ugly.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Honey Badger. I saw your message. I am excited about that.
Awesome.
So what was your crap weekend about?
Yeah, and I knew there was something that I wanted to talk about, and I forgot what it was at that point. 2 days of ops issues that I dealt with, and the first day was all of a sudden the database went to crap, and trying to figure out, okay, what happened, what went wrong, was it this? We had a huge code release go out last week, and was it something in there? Then Friday night they also upgraded the operating systems from Ubuntu 16 to 22. So I think they did, or 18 to 20 to 22, to get it up to date. So I'm like, was it something there? And we spent hours in there trying to figure out why things were broken. And it turned out we used proxy SQL, and one of the instances for some reason took the maximum number of connections it could handle to the primary database from 800 simultaneous to 25.
That's awesome.
And supposedly nobody touched proxy SQL. So we figure it out, and I watch one of the ops people increase it to 800, save it to disk, and load it to runtime. So it was happy. We immediately saw the things increase, and performance was back to normal. The next day, there's issues again. We're like, is it that? And we're going to look, and no, it wasn't that. And then I started noticing that an API call we make to a third-party service, where on average we hit the service roughly 250,000 times a day. All of a sudden, for the past week, shot up to 2.5 to 3 million times a day.
That sounds like one of Tom's. Oh yeah, this cost us $2 million.
Luckily, it's not a API we have to pay for, but I'm like, what in the hell is going on? And I realized that for one section of the platform, they were calling the code I wrote that hits the API. I wrote it to handle 10-digit numbers. Well, now they're calling it with E164 numbers, which is +1 and then a 10-digit phone number. and I cache all of this data based on the phone number. So first of all, the cache isn't going to match. And second of all, I still haven't confirmed this. I don't know if a plus works as a cache key in Redis. I never took the time to figure that out. I did spin up a connection via data grip to a Redis client and use plus as in a key, and it worked fine. But I don't know if that's encoding it somehow. But if I do it in PHP, if it doesn't work, and again, I haven't taken the time to try it because I changed one line of code to just for the key, strip the +1 when I get it. So now all of a sudden our cache hits went back up, and strip it when I set it. So now I'm setting the same key, and just watching the graphs just go, just drop right off, went right back to normal, normal response times, normal, like it was just crazy.
I would love if anybody in Discord knows or hit us on Twitter or Mastodon if you're listening to audio podcast later. But if Redis doesn't like special symbols like a plus symbol, I mean, it sounds like that was the problem, right? I mean, it had to be. Well, no.
So it was twofold. What we haven't confirmed is, are we only making, the 250,000 requests a day because we cache the data for 2 months? And is it because we are using the same phone numbers often enough where the data is being hit in cache? So now as soon as we did the +1, it's got to go get all that data again. So maybe it was getting it and caching it, but
yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's like, if you went through this part of the code base, everything worked fine. Over here, we had to go recache it, and maybe that was working, but man, 3 million a day. And then on top of that, we believe the third-party service had an outage for a period of time, because when we would hit the API, we have a timeout of 1 second, and I store every time we hit the API how long it takes. So all of a sudden I'm seeing all these 1 second hits, so I know it's timing out. And the problem is the page you were going to was loading basically SMS data. So it would give a bunch of threads, and if you had 10 messages in there, well, we were going and checking this third-party API 10 different times. So now you're delayed by 10 seconds because that's a timeout.
Right.
If you have 60, all of a sudden you're timing out, 60 seconds, and Cloudflare is just saying, nope, this request's taking too long, you're done.
Oh, fun stuff.
No, not fun.
So last week we were talking about HTTP or HTTP or however you want to say it, and it was brought to my attention that they now have a GUI client, which is weird. I've used HTTP for years at the command line. Never even thought there would be a GUI for it. So I did some exploring. I downloaded it, and it's just like, it's a GUI like Postman's a GUI, right? It's just a wrapper, yeah. But I noticed that it had import features for Postman. So I'm like, all right, this got really interesting to me. So we were talking last week about we pay for a team subscription to Postman. It's one of the more expensive services we use, and if we could get something that would meet like 98% of our needs out cheaper, then we could figure out the last 2% when it came up. So I'm sitting there playing with it, and it works. I mean, the import is very, very finicky. I had to go in and manually edit a few of the Postman exports, but eventually I got them all importing, and it's not clear. I figured it out after a while, but like, if it can't import a Postman export, it gives you a little red dot that you need to hover over, and it will tell you where in the file the error is. But it's not obvious. Like something doesn't pop up and say, hey, I couldn't import this, or there was a problem. It just sits there, this little red dot appears in the lower right hand side. So yeah, so it's a little finicky, but once you know how to debug it, you can get things importing. And it imported collections and environments, which was a big deal because now we have just a lot of collections, but a lot of environmental variables for all our different clients and all the different environments. And so that was cool. But then I got to thinking, I'm like, I wonder if there's a Postman import to the HTTP client in PHP Storm. And lo and behold, there is.
Really?
Yep. And it actually works better than HTTP Pi did. The import worked better. Now the configuration is still a little clunky because it's not a GUI configuration, right? It's just a bunch of
Scratch files.
requests. Yeah. Well, it's one Scratch file, but they put it all in one Scratch file, like unit test, where you can run. It has a little run button next to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that was kind of cool. The one thing, and I think somebody in our Discord figured it out. I didn't have a chance to test it. The one thing I couldn't figure out how to do on my own is how to set that like a bearer token and have it inherited through all the endpoints. You can do that in HTTP Pi, HTTP Pi, and of course you can do that in Postman. It looks like there's some scripting language that PHP Storm uses that you can use to do it. Like I said, I just hadn't had the chance to play with it. But the thing I liked about it is it then allowed me to add all those endpoints to test and the environmental settings for those endpoints to the repo. So they don't have to go and fork fork from Postman, what we do now, and make sure they have all the current ones. If you pull down a branch, you pull down all the current endpoints with you. Don't know if I like that or not, but it's there. That was one of the conversations we actually had in Discord today, I think, was the feeling of do you like everything being in PHP Storm or not? I'm kind of still on the fence on it, where I would rather not. Like, if I'm using PHP Storm, I'd rather have PHP Storm do my code. Even when I'm using database stuff now, PHP Storm is my code, and I fire up Data Grip. Even though Data Grip is in PHP Storm, I just like having that separate window.
I have it in both. The main reason I have it in PHP Storm is, as I'm writing queries, it knows my database information and will tell me. It'll help me autocomplete my queries. It will tell me where I've screwed things up.
In your code?
Yep. Mm-hmm. So even if you just put the connection in PHP Storm, you have access to all of that. The only reason I fire up a separate data grip is, one, I lots of different databases for different things, and I often go full screen on one of my monitors with data grip, full screen on the other monitor with my code. It's just how I like to work versus, having separate panes or having the database in one half of my window in PHP Storm. Not that I'm opposed to it. It's still the same tool. I just have it in a separate window. I saw you guys were also, I wasn't available while you were talking about it, but I do like the Git configuration or Git workflows within PHP Storm. I drop to the command line when I want to do something very specific. Usually my rebasing onto a branch from a very specific point in the branch, I drop to command line. But 99% of my Git commands are done in PHP Storm, which is really just commit certain files. I use PHP Storm's shelving instead of Git stashing. I'm not sure why, but it's just easier for me. Switching branches, creating branches.
See, that's so funny because I think I'm the opposite. When we've talked about this, I still lean heavily on the command my terminals. I love being in my terminals. Oh my God, my terminals. Oh my God. So first thing, let me say, I finally bought a widescreen monitor, and man, oh man, do I wish I had done this sooner. It has made me fall back in love with my terminal. So I will have, John and I are on Pop OS. So on Pop OS, much like a Mac, you have different desktops you can go to, right? And I have one desktop that's just a terminal. And because I'm always in Tmux, I just split up my windows, and yeah, man, so I have a command. Let's say I want to work on the PHP Roundtable, website, right? I have a command that I can type in that will do a search of all my repos, and it's basically that's another thing, dude. FZF. And I get to PHP Roundtable, I hit enter, and it starts a Tmux session dedicated to PHP Roundtable. And I have all my splits laid out now, where I can do my lazy git on the right hand side and get my Lando running on the left hand side. And I'm just like, I am loving my terminal again. And FZF is another thing. I've used it.
Is that Fuzzy Finder?
Yeah, it's a fuzzy finder, but it's a very, very powerful fuzzy finder, and I've used it in Vim and a couple other tools that just have it built in. But I always see these people who use it to search for files and stuff on their system from the command line, and I can never get that working. And it wasn't one of those things that I really wanted to waste a lot of time on. It just out of just pure coincidence, I came across a post that said, "Oh yeah, I couldn't get my FZF working in my ZSH shell with the plugin, because I also use the Vim mode plugin, which I use for my shell as well. So I have Vim on my shell, and it says, they said you have to. I forget what the order was, but they said I had to load. Let's just say the Vim mode first. I think it was actually the FZF first, and then Vim mode, and then it worked. I'm like, what? It can't be that easy. And now, keep in mind, I've been doing this for years, and I've lived without it for years. And so I go into my ZSH RC file, and I swap those little two plugins around, and damn, I have FZF all over the place now. I'm finding files and directories. I'm doing my little control T's and control R's, and oh my God, I love finally getting to use a tool that I've seen so many people use for so long. I'm sure I'll forget in a couple days, but
well, not if you're using it as much as you say you're using it. Now you want me to go check it out.
And that's another. I don't know if you're a Tmux person, but
I use it when I work remotely. I don't use it locally.
You need to think about that, man. I'm telling you, because I'll show you my workflow with Tmux. But Tmux has this new thing where you can do display pop-ups, which are little pop-up windows in Tmux, and it's a different experience, man. The terminal is such a different experience than it was 20 years ago. It's crazy. It's so powerful, so fast. All right, let's take a moment and let's go over to our PHP Storm sponsors. But I need to find Tom's AI one on this one. So yeah, here. A little thank you to our PHP Storm people.
We here at PHPUgly are happy to have JetBrains and PHP Storm as a sponsor. The entire team at PHPUgly uses PHP Storm every day, and we love it. PHP Storm is a cutting-edge IDE tailored for PHP and web developers. Whether you're a newcomer or it's just been a hot minute since your last dive in, there's never been a better time to revisit. With a slick, clean new UI, blazing speed enhancements, and a richer toolkit, it's transforming the way we code. It's time to start coding like a professional. Visit jetbrains.com/PHP Storm and kick off your 30-day free trial. Code smarter, not harder. Let's get back to getting ugly.
Thank you, PHP
Thank you,
Storm.
PHP Storm.
Look at people showing off their widescreens there.
Yep. And just so you know, we realized how bad that the audio is on that ad. It's just funny.
It is, yeah. I do need to redo that one. Eric Mann asked about Warp Dev. I'm a Kitty person. Haven't really. I tried Warp Dev. I didn't see any benefits to it. I think that's just another terminal emulator. Wayne Life in Discord. How big is that? Because it looks like it's about the size mine is, which is 49 inches. And it is a lot of screen. Like, it's a lot of real estate, man. And what's weird about it, I used to have dual monitors. And I was having so many problems with seeing, like, I wear glasses, and even when I wear glasses, I'm like, God, I can barely read them. I was increasing font sizes on certain windows, and with this, all of a sudden I had to bring everything back down to like normal font sizes because I can read everything again. I'm like, wow, everything's nice, crisp, and clear. So yeah, everybody's talking about terminal emulators. Yeah, Buttery, I was down. I don't know how do you pronounce that? Alacrity. That's what I was rocking before I went to Kitty. I really pushed back a lot on Kitty. When I was on the Mac, I tried using Kitty and I hated it. You had to do some special stuff back then. I don't know if it's changed, but you had to do some special stuff to get SSH working. So when I was on Pop! OS, for the longest time, I just stuck with GNOME Terminal, and then I went to I played around with a few others, and I tried Kitty again, and because Kitty was one of the ones that would give me transparency, and I'm like, all right, I kind of like transparency, and so I kind of stuck with that. And honestly, it was just like one of those things that I don't even realize how long I've been using it now. It's just they're all terminals, right? I mean, once you get it configured, there are very minor things that are different about them that people prefer, but for the most part, it's just the terminal.
I think I just use whatever comes with Pop! OS. Yeah, I just use the default terminal.
GNOME terminal.
Yeah.
I gotta show you my my layout. Yeah, really loving. I'm loving the screen. I'm still working on my workflow in the new screen, but I'm getting there, and it's going well. All right.
I queued up
Good. No, you go.
I queued up a few tweets that friend of the show, Jameson Bryant, tweeted recently. Don't know why. It just struck me. One of them is, if I'm in a bad mood today, it's because I just set up auto payment on my student loans. I got nothing out of college except meeting my wife. I should have never went. No offense to those that did.
Yeah, that's a harsh take in college, man. Do you feel that way?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I did not get anything out of college other than, just timing of how things worked for me, but I didn't learn anything that I do today in college. I already knew the basics of programming from when I was a younger kid. I knew the basics of databases. I got a job doing database work because I needed a job, and I happened to be in college and happened to see a post. But man, when it comes to actual what I learned in college, I don't know what I learned that has stuck with me. Maybe some a little more advanced math concepts, things like that.
I think we should caveat that a little bit, because you and I were of a very fortunate generation where we started forging the direction of the internet. Like, there were no rules. We were making stuff up. I don't think that's going to hold true for maybe the generation that are in college now. Could probably go either way, but I think that's going to change very soon, where it's going to get very hard to get development jobs without some sort of formal education, if for no other reason. The colleges are starting to catch up with how coding should be taught, and understand, teaching concepts and patterns, and what these are, things that can carry over to different languages. I looked at the NorCal Kids partner. I helped them out. They took some coding classes, and some of the concepts they were being taught in there, I'm like, wow, this is really cool that you guys are learning this stuff. So I think that's going to change. I mean, the problem with college in general, especially when John and I went, was not designed to teach our industry. It just didn't move quick enough. It didn't change fast enough.
Mhm.
So I don't know if they're changing that at all. But
I mean, I went for aviation computer science was my major, and I was learning Ada, which was the language of the aviation whatever community, not community, sector.
Mhm.
I remember taking a Java class and basically being in a group, and had a good friend in the class that just did all the work. So I knew just enough Java to hurt something. Like, I wasn't
Mhm.
good at it. I didn't
Mhm.
really take the time to learn it. Sitting through a database class and talking about transactions, and because I was already doing other work with databases, I didn't pay enough attention, and I wish I would have, because I should be doing transactions more than I do.
Mhm.
But it's just those little things that stick out. Like, I remember sitting in there and them talking about it, and me just zoning out and not caring.
That's the other reality of it, right? It's like they could have been trying to teach me, the repository pattern in college, and I wasn't mature enough to care and appreciate, and I couldn't, I wouldn't have, it wouldn't have stuck.
Yeah. The only smart thing I did was I never deferred my student loans. I never spread them out. I paid them as soon as I got out of college, started paying, and they were paid off in 10 years, and I was done.
10 years. Wow.
I made sure we did the same thing with my wife's student loans, just pay
But
them,
still,
get it done.
that's still so much. I mean, so obviously we've talked about it in the past. I did some community college, but never any real university schooling. So I didn't have to make that investment. We did with the kids both went to schools, but that just seems crazy to me. That sort of like I think about that. It's just 10 years you had to, and you feel like you did that quickly, right? 10 years.
Oh, I know I did. I think
that would have been fast.
I think my brother-in-law is still paying on his, and he graduated before I did.
So the current wife works in the medical field, and you listen to some of the student debt those doctors enter the workforce with, and I'm like, oh my God, like, how is that worth it to you? I don't know, man. It is absolutely bonkers to me.
Talking to your kid, I realize I am privileged. I made sure to focus on getting that paid off and sacrificed other things like driving a crappy car forever. But that was important to me, was not delaying it, because I've heard too many stories about student loans taking forever to pay off.
Yeah.
So
yeah, fortunately,
definitely not trying to.
Matter of fact, our kids paid for theirs, their schooling pretty much. So yeah, fortunately they don't have a lot of student loan to carry around either. And again, they were very privileged as well. Like, they were in a position where, it's a good thing when you do it, and that is not the norm in this country, at least. So it's crazy to think that there are countries where you just go to secondary school, like that's part of being a citizen of that country. You just go on to college, but it's not like that here in the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, I did get lucky. When I graduated, I had a job waiting for me, which I didn't plan on asking them for a full-time job. I was planning on going off and doing something else, and they're like, "You're not even going to give us a chance to offer you something?" I'm like, "Oh, I didn't realize that was an option."
Wait, you want to offer me something?
Okay. So I stuck around there for a while.
All right, are you ready for some spiciness?
Yes.
The thing that kind of went off the rails a little bit.
Yes.
I'm pretty disappointed about this. I am going to probably rage a little bit, so feel free to pull me in if you feel like I'm going too far down any particular area. So it starts with this tweet. Oh, wait a minute. They pulled it down. So this is frustrating to me. So it started with a tweet from somebody in the community, and I think it was a very innocent tweet. Essentially, what they said was they used to use Laravel Forge. They're exploring other options. A lot of it came down to costs for them. There was no real criticism of Forge. It's not like it didn't meet my needs or it was a crappy service. It was just like it really boils down to cost more than anything else. And they moved from working for somebody to working for themselves, and it was their money now. Which, by the way, John and I run our company. It is our company. We own it. It is a very different world watching money go out and paying taxes on money that you never actually get to touch. It is a very expensive process. The first couple of years were very tough, but the numbers don't go down. Like, it's not like, oh, you've been in business for 20 years, your taxes are going to get cut in half and you don't have to pay for these services anymore. No, you just continue to need new services, taxes continue to go up. It is a horrible process and it's very nerve-wracking. A lot of people don't understand that. Like, being a contractor is a little different. Like, you only have to worry about your taxes for you. But having a company, having employees, it's a different world, and it's not for everybody. So I can appreciate where this person's coming from. Well, this ended up causing some backlash. So let me share this one from a particular person who has a vested interest in Forge, which is Taylor himself. It's going to be hard to believe, but Taylor is a very, my interactions with Taylor, he seems like a very modest person. He's very, very easily approachable. He just seems like a nice guy, right? I've never, in person, I've never had a problem talking to him. We've had some back and forths over social media, but that's just that. Okay, so I really think the guy is a good-hearted person in general, but the dude needs a PR representative or a public relations representative. This guy just doesn't handle social media posts very well. So he starts with kind of a slam on the company this person was moving to, and I don't know if it's mentioned. So this was the deleted post, and it's not mentioned what that company is. And I keep thinking, I keep wanting to say Plan.io because that's one of the services we use, but it's not Plan.io. If in Discord, if you know what it is, throw it in there. But basically, Taylor is like, this is why I could never have any respect at all for that company to clone the very thing that makes the framework you use sustainable. Is just weird to me, but what do I know? It's like, okay, I haven't looked into the service. So for the record, full disclosure, we use Forge, we use Envoyer. I don't have a problem paying for it. I don't pay for it because I pay for it because it's the PHP community, somebody in the PHP community, and so I'm fine. I like to try to.
But it's also a good
or-
service. I mean, it does.
That's
it
it,
does something
right?
we need done.
It takes the workload off of. We don't have like dedicated operations people, so it's a very nice service for spinning up servers and managing servers. We have no complaints over Forge. But with that said, there are a lot of services out there that do what Forge does. There are open source projects out there that do what Forge does. Ansible, our one guy was an Ansible maniac. I mean, he basically was doing the Forge workflow before we even used Forge, using Ansible scripts. So there's no secret to what they're accomplishing. It's just how they're accomplishing it, and the interfaces and the ease they're doing it. But it doesn't mean you get to corner that market. And whether this other company is specifically targeting the Laravel community or not is really irrelevant. Okay, it's competition. You should feel flattered that you've created an ecosystem that they feel like they can play in. So that was, I saw that, I'm like, that's a thing. And I kind of gave him a pass on it, right? I'm like, all right, well, he just said something that, whatever. I'm not really too hung up on it. And it's the next one that really gets me. Oh, I don't see. Did I miss? Did I already? I'm trying to find the one that really kind of set me off. Here we go. I did actually pass it already. So this was the one that set me off. And it was actually before his other tweet. He says, "You realize Laravel as a framework will no longer exist if Forge does not exist. As in the open source framework, Laravel is will no longer be maintained." Now, I have been a supporter of Laravel for a very long time. I've been open to trying other solutions, and I think that's a good practice for people in general. But I always lean back on Laravel. I have personally implemented Laravel on several clients. This is my job. People come to me and say, "Hey, I need this. How should I build it?" And I throw Laravel at them. To hear him say this from a business perspective, this is why he will not be taken seriously in like a business world. Like that's basically a threat. It's like, hey, if I'm not making bank on this service, I'm gonna take my ball and leave. And it's an open source project, so people can say, well, it's open source, people can fork it. Yeah, ask Zen, how that worked out. I mean, it's still there and there's still people using it, but it definitely lost its momentum. It's, what's it called now? Not
Luminous.
Yeah, Luminous. It's still there, and it's it's still trying to find kind of its place, but it's not what it was. Mm-hmm. And for him to say that, like, as a business owner, it really causes me to pause and think, like, wait a minute, I think I fucked up here. Like, I have a major technical investment in the Laravel framework now. And that really did not sit well with me. It doesn't sit with me to this day. I would really like to see him roll that back a little bit and say, okay, I might have misspoke this, or I oversimplified that. But seriously, listen, I'm sorry, dude. You and your buddies in your little crew, you're good people. But if you're going to be flexing Lambos, flexing your trips to Vegas and your expensive homes, don't be shitting on one guy who wants to roll off to another service because it's cheaper. Okay,
right? That's a fair point.
It's like, that's not don't do that.
That person's $10 a month or whatever it is isn't going to change your Lambo lifestyle,
right? And and that's why I kind of prefix this with, I do think he's a fairly modest person, but but he is not shy showing off his expensive cars and expensive house, and it's great. I'm glad that they were able to get there. So this is where it gets weird. And somebody called him out, and I was very happy to see this.
Most of the fanboys did not, though. I was looking through those comments, and there's a lot of, I support you and I pay for these and this and that, and like, because you're you.
Exactly. There was so many comments of, well, I just pay for Forge just to show you my support. And it's like, okay, they're just like the Apple fanboys. It's like, it doesn't matter what they do or what Taylor does. He's going to have their support. These aren't people to be taken seriously from a business perspective. These aren't the people you want to build your, I don't know. I guess I can't say that. I was going to say, these aren't the type of people you want to build your lifestyle on, but you have social media influencers. That's all they do. For me, it would be weird, right? Like, from a business perspective, I immediately start discounting their opinion, because it's clear they don't really have a skin in the game. They've made it clear that, oh, I have this money to spend. I'm going to spend it to give it to you because. And for somebody who is making a business decision to get that hate from them, it's like, dude, you don't get it. Like, this is why Laravel doesn't always get taken seriously in the business world. It's frustrating for me because I do take it seriously. And I see stuff like this and I get very, very nervous. But so it gets weird. It gets a little weirder here. Speaking of fanboys, somebody says, I'll gladly choose Laravel Forge, even though it's a bit pricier. It's my way of supporting Laravel. And oh, I didn't hear that one. Okay, fine. That's how people want to support Laravel. We have it, right? We have Patreon supporters. That's how they want to show us support. We have a product that John and we literally count subscribers every month because we're trying to track where we're at. That those subscribers carry that part of PHP Architect, the magazine. And I mean, let's be honest, John, I don't know how much you want to disclose on this, but I'm comfortable saying it. Things like the conference, boy, do we understand things like the conference. Now, it's not the users, it's the sponsors. If sponsors decided, hey, we don't want any part of PHP Architect anymore, that conference would have to go away because the users themselves wouldn't be able to support it. It's not a matter of, well, if you're not gonna give us money, we're not gonna have a conference. It's a matter of, if we don't get money, we cannot have a conference. And I don't think that's the case of the Laravel open source framework for him to make that statement. But to continue down this path, Taylor then gives this person who had sent that previous post a $500 credit on their Forge account. Now, does he give $500 credit to the other guy who's trying to start a business, who is moving on because he can't afford it? I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe that's why he took down the post. I don't know. But he gives this guy $500. And the person, this is just so perfect. Another person responds, and John, if you want to try to say this name, you know how I am with names. Mustafa says, I don't like the optics of this. Person A critiques a product. Person B defends the product. Owner of the product pays money to person B and completely ignores person A. Doesn't completely ignore him, but yeah. And it gives some weird and distorted incentive system for customer feedback. I'm like, yes, exactly. That's like, that was just so weird to see. And a couple other people go back and forth on this. And yeah, it's, and then Taylor even says, what customer feedback exactly? And somebody's like, responds, talk about the pricing. And it's just, it was a weird, again, with as much as Taylor flexed his lifestyle and his travel, and it's like, dude, be a little bit more sympathetic, or have a little bit more empathy for people who aren't in your position, who don't have that money, and don't send the hounds after him because he decides to share an experience. And that was a tough read, man. I really, really dislike that. And we've said it before in the past, and we've been open about it. We've had back and forths with people in the Laravel community and other communities. Don't get me started on Tron Gate. And we don't always see eye to eye. I actually pride myself in being one of the biggest, both a big Laravel supporter and critic. Like, I feel like I can be very honest and call out issues in Laravel where you have, as you said earlier, John, fanboys who won't. They just won't. They will never go against anything that comes down from the top. It's always 100% agree, and that's not what makes these communities good and strong.
I mean, that's the problem with so many. Same problem with politics, right? When you identify as one thing, you are resistant to criticism or hearing the other side, which is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
We should always be open, listening to everybody, and making the best decision for us. And if the best decision for you is, I make a living off Laravel, and I want to support Taylor by using products he's created, great. But know that that's what you're doing, and not just because it's Taylor, not just because it's Laravel, right?
And not just because you're afraid he'll take Laravel away if you don't.
Right.
Yeah, it was, and I actually stopped reading the thread. So if anybody comes across, if Taylor does come back on there and say, "Hey, I think this got blown out of proportion," I want to walk a few things back, feel free to send it to me. Let me know. I will definitely discuss it on next week's show. I have no problem giving Laravel, Taylor, and the whole community and ecosystem praise when it's deserved. This was a tough one, man. It was really hard to read that, and I am just, man, it's just really, again, I think about the clients that we have implemented Laravel on, and I'm like, it's always been a thing. It's always been a struggle. We've always shared it in the show about the fast-paced world of Laravel, and companies in general aren't designed or tooled to iterate that quickly on a core framework, a core component of the application. And we have worked hard with our clients to make that as less painful as possible. And when you hear stuff like this, it's just like, good God, why am I doing all that work? Like, yeah, that's a hard one. And it's just so hard for me because I feel like it's my reputation as well. I put a lot of my reputation behind going with Laravel, and I am really questioning that one tweet alone is going to stick with me for a very long time.
Yeah, I don't blame you. So I want to take this opportunity to talk about PHP Architects sponsoring this podcast. I know we're running way long. PHP Tech coming in 2024. Would love to see you there if you can make it. Call for speakers is currently open. A talk I would love to see is kind of around this topic, where we should not be boxing ourselves into the framework. And there are patterns that you can follow so that you're not as tied to it. And I know with Laravel, it's really hard because the models, the active record model, once you start using that throughout your application, you're completely tied to it. But if you can start using something like a repository pattern that will use the model to get the data out and then create your concrete implementation of that object, you need to move to another one. All you gotta do is change your repository, get your data another way. There's other ways around it, not as convenient per se, but something to think about. So having a good talk around how to kind of separate your code from the framework and not be so tied to it would be an amazing presentation. Anything you want to talk about, like if you have a presentation idea, something you're working on, something you're learning, something you want to just share with other people, we want to see it. Go over to tech.phparch.com, click on the speakers tab. There'll be a place to go to submit your ideas. We're up to well over like 150 or so submissions.
Cool. When are we shutting that down? Put you on the spot.
So I don't know if it shows. Does it actually show when you go to that?
I don't know. I don't think I've actually been to it in a very long time now.
Because I didn't want to put us into a box of this is the date range for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's on there. So it's currently set to close November 30th.
Oh, okay. Okay, we do have that on there. All right.
Yeah. So it's set to close November 30th. We're going to start, going through the talks much sooner, just to start getting an idea of talks we like, start having a plan, because we would ideally get the conference schedule mostly completed early December, so that people want to make, decisions for next year can do that before the Christmas break would be great.
Yeah. Look at that beautiful website. That's an awesome website. I saw we got a couple more tickets bought, like early bird tickets. That was nice to see. So, I one more quick thing, kind of along that topic, and kind of what John was talking about as far as boxing yourself into a framework. I have a philosophy that I like to tell people who get really excited about a framework, and believe me, I am a framework junkie. I will play with any framework and just see how it works and appreciate it. I have nothing against frameworks. I know there's a PHP camp that just doesn't agree with frameworks as a concept, and that's fine as well. But what I normally tell people is you will never become a really good PHP developer by being good at this framework, but you will become a really good person at this framework by being a good PHP developer. And so understand that PHP is still the core, and that's what you need to get your head around, and that's what you need to learn. And then you can learn all the special patterns and tricks of a particular framework. So just keep that in mind, and don't, like John said, don't get boxed in.
Exactly.
We do need to share. Go ahead and keep talking. We do need to share our supporters on Patreon. We haven't done that yet.
All
so
right.
you
While
keep
you do
talking.
that, Eric Mann asks, is there an upper limit to how many I can submit? You can submit as many talks, as many ideas as you want. Preferably, people submit 3 to 5. Ideally. I've had a couple that went way overboard and have like 10 to 15.
A-Wood's submitted a great talk about coming up with show titles. Or if he hasn't, he should.
So while I said this about the person submitting 10 to 15, as I'm looking through it, they're submitting the same one a couple times, because they're like, well, I could cram this into a 30-minute talk, or I could do a full 50-minute talk on it.
That's something very, very important to keep in mind. If you're new to speaking, we have 30-minute talks that is a great little intro. You get up there, you do your presentation, and you're out. It's a really good little time slot to get into. What else was I going to say? Oh, in writers for the magazine, we have a special going. If you're interested in writing a feature article for us, up until PHP Tech, we pay for contributions. So if you write for us, we do compensate you for it. But you have the option of either taking the compensation or taking the compensation in form of a ticket to tech, just the ticket. But from a dollar sign perspective, the ticket to tech is much more expensive than what we compensate. So if that's,
I'll share numbers. I'm fine sharing numbers. We pay $175 for an article.
You know what? I think I've told a couple people now $150. I swear to God, I keep telling people $150. I think I have to take $25 commission for bringing it in.
So it's $175 US to write an article. Currently for Blind Early Bird, our tickets are $500. So
right,
you just have to get yourself there, hotel room, and
feature
flight.
articles. So there are some caveats to that. $175 for feature articles that are 2,500 to 3,500 plus words. We don't have a hard cut at 3,500, but we like to kind of keep it around that. And it has to be, it can't be a republish of an existing article or post that you've done somewhere else. You can submit those. We're just not going to compensate you $175. What did we come up with? Was it 100 for those? Or 75 or 50 or 25? I think it was 25.
I thought it was free, wasn't it?
So we will, if you have a blog post you're proud of, or if you've written an article for the school magazine that you want, we're fine taking it. The concept is, if it's not unique to PHP Architect, if it's something you've already done, we're fine compensating you. We're just not going to give you the same compensation that somebody who worked on an article specifically for PHP Architect.
Right. Eric, man, you said you won't submit duplicates, but you'll note in the additional comments. Please don't. I would prefer you to duplicate the talk in each category, because when we're looking for a 30-minute talk, we're going to compare 30-minute talks to 30-minute talks.
We'll filter.
Yeah, we're not going to look at the additional comments and be like, oh, this one might fit in this category.
Yeah.
It's just easier for us to have them duplicated.
That is very true. Very true.
That happened last year. A couple people did that. And I'm like, sorry, we just didn't see it at that point.
And we don't have any keynotes locked in either. If you think your keynote material, feel free to submit keynote talks. That's always open.
Other conferences yelled at you for duplicating?
They're
I want to know how they were making their decisions, because that is a pain for me, the way I see it. But most other conferences that I've seen don't have the varying lengths, right? As far as I know, or they do the tutorial or an hour. So it's either 3 hour or 1 hour.
We have 3 hour the first day still too, right? Are we doing 3 hours?
Yep.
The first day, yeah. Eric, A-Woods. Well, we know A-Woods is going to be in Austin. Eric, are you going to be in Austin? You coming to Austin? All right. While that delay gets to you and respond, I don't know. I think where are we at, man? We are 1 hour and 23 minutes.
We are.
I feel like I could go another hour.
Please don't.
Anything else? Anything else we want to touch on?
Think this is a good one.
All right. I think so too. If you're in Discord, hang out with us for the after show. Get your title suggestions in there. You know the drill. And until next week, we'll see you guys next week, I guess. Oh, wait. What did we do? I'm Eric.
This has been episode 356 of PHP Ugly. I'm John.
What show is this? I'm Eric. Keep it ugly.
Keep it ugly.
1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John, you know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up. Yeah. Come on. Hey.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you if you're talking.
Oh, Titlebot's been down the entire show, apparently. Hey, Discord, Titlebot should be back up. Sorry about that. I really apologize. I did not know. And I am known for not keeping a close eye on Discord during the show. And I guess everybody's been talking about it in Discord. So I will have to go back through Discord. And,
somehow I missed that. Man, I got jabbed twice today.
I think I'm about to get jabbed. My kid's here.
Got my COVID and my flu shot today.
COVID. That's what I need to go do. That's that I need to do that next week. COVID.
Except I picked the wrong day because I got the 90s hip hop throwback concert tomorrow night, and then Saturday night I'm going up to LA to the Brandy Carlisle concert, and I'm just hoping I'm not feeling like crap.
You'll be fine.
Nah, I haven't gotten sick after any of the other shots, so I'm sure it will be fine.
Yeah, I need to get mine.
Buttery. Buttery said, read back all my titles manually, please. I can't be bothered to resubmit. A Woods will just win anyway.
Hey. I got a weird text about an hour ago from USPS. Your item has been delivered to a transit warehouse. Delivery failure, address unknown.
Spam or phishing.
You think it's phishing?
Yeah.
Good to know.
You gotta click on it. It's gonna ask you to log into something.
Yeah, that's not happening. All right. I mean, with the two of us, I don't even know what there is to talk about. Discord, you guys have anything you want to talk about?
I didn't talk about the other tweets that I had queued up. I'll probably just remove them. Yeah. I like me in Slack. What's everyone listening to today? Post the Spotify link. Normal coworker 1, Kate Bush. Normal coworker 2, Fred again. My boss. I've been listening to the tears of PHP bugs as I squash them beneath my feet.
Wait, what? Is this something you work with?
No, this is Jameson Bryant again, the guy I went to lunch with a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
He just had a baby, so he's taking some time off, and it was just funny. He also tweeted out, got a Tailscale relay set up in my AWS VPC running in SSH mode. When that thing popped open an OAuth SSO dialog, then dropped me into a bash prompt, I nearly lost my dang mind. Wow.
That's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, you can authenticate. You can OAuth through Tailscale. I don't have mine set up that way, but yeah, it's nuts, man. That Tailscale is so awesome. So awesome. I've been using Cloudflare a little bit more again too, which was my go-to before I was using Tailscale, just because I've been wanting to share some inside services that I have via the outside without jumping on a Tailscale network. So basically, I wanted to punch a hole through my firewall, and that's what Cloudflare lets me do that.
You've told me about that before, and I've only used Cloudflare in front of a website to prevent it from DDoS attacks.
Yeah, they're definitely good for that too. Yeah, no, they have a zero trust network set up now, which makes like all the stuff I was trying to do before with Cloudflare, what you could do, you just kind of jump through some hoops to get it done, like SSH tunnels and HTTP tunnels. But they have this zero trust network now, and it's stupid simple to set up. I mean, I wouldn't say it is as simple as Tailscale, but if Tailscale wasn't around, it would probably be the easiest thing than anything else. Tailscale still wins, especially for the SSH part. Right. Well, I hope. I was actually kind of hoping Tom was going to jump in, or at least jump into Discord, and let us know he landed. And he's sorry he didn't make the show, but I guess that didn't happen.
He doesn't care about us.
He really doesn't. He really doesn't. He doesn't care about any of y'all either. Y'all support him, and you want to be his friend, but he doesn't like any of y'all. No, I'm kidding.
Did you see what was said in the herd by for fuck's sake? His response to my video of Tom's first flight not a success then? Hey,
That's
I sent
perfect.
a friend of mine.
Right. This one was up Tom.
Man, yesterday was very crowded on the little hill I fly on. There was like 3 or 4 of us in the air at one point, but with very little lift, so we all stayed right around launch trying to find a thermal to take us higher.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't flown that close to other gliders in a long time, to the point where as you pass another glider at or around the same height as you get rocked. Like you catch wake off of their wing, and it's like you'd be flying, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, where am I going? And at one point I'm flying this way and I got 2 coming the other way, and I felt like I was threading the needle between them. Like, that's not the way it's supposed to go.
All right. I do actually need to go through Discord, I guess. Alacrity. Oh, alacrity. That's Laravel Spice. Yeah, Laravel Spice, man. Give us some clickbaity. Make it a little clickbaity.
Your kid had "Don't Stay in School," or partner of your kid, "Don't Stay in School" was a title.
Yeah, so that one. Not sure I'm ready to go down that path yet, but they would know they're in school. Let's see, what else do we have? I'm going back through Discord now.
I'm trying to do the same.
Yeah.
Enjoying coding as long as it isn't fixing Titlebot. Because you were just on a rant about how much you were enjoying coding.
Maybe that should be the title, just no title.
Programmer enjoys programming. More news at 10.
Was that one?
Yeah, that was a buttery. just because you were so into.
God, I do love programming. I do love coding, man. It's like, it just feels so good.
It's
So
okay. Awoods is here,
Yeah.
hanging out with our code out.
Low key. That was Eric Mann. That was Awood's title, but referring to Eric Mann's talking about the low key series is on. I guess I haven't even watched season 2 yet.
Oh, season 2 is out.
Yeah.
Ah, damn it! I got rid of Disney Plus.
Low key. I just kind of like the. I like the flow of that title. Holy crap! 9:15 title bot to be replaced by AI. It's been down like the whole show. God damn. John Fudget. I don't know what that reference was. He was John Fudget. Titlebot strike. I could actually do that one. Titlebot strike. Title, what the fuck? Oh man. I'm sorry. This is why John doesn't allow me to have sharp objects at conferences. All right. Oh look, now Awood's stepping up his game. He's not only doing the titles, but he's giving thumbnail kid what to do. Spice. I mean, that's actually really good. Not Taylor's head though. It's got to be ours. I'm not putting Taylor's head on their stuff. But I like your Spice Girl inspired. Yeah, Tom's head makes a lot of sense. Making part of the show. Yes, thumbnail kid, NorCal kid. I have all sorts of names for him. All right. NorCal kid, are you getting any of this? I haven't seen you post in a while. Let's just go ahead and go with Laravel Spice, and Awoods has a suggestion of a Spice Girl inspired one that works for me, but if you have something else, maybe hot saucy, that I'm all about my hot sauce. So a little hot sauce. We could put the Laravel symbol on a bottle of hot sauce or something.
I will expect a cease and desist letter in the mail next week.
Time flies. Oh, look at you. Getting all cute. All right, man. So I think we got our title, and of course it's who else? Freaking Awoods, the title king. Buttery, you were close though. I liked yours. I forgot what it was now. See, so I've already forgotten it. But I take full responsibility. I take full responsibility for Titlebot being down. I'm sure everybody would submit titles. Had a dozen freaking people hadn't posted that the Titlebot was down. Oh, John, look, I wore a Halloween shirt. I wear my 404 costume not found shirt.
I missed that earlier.
Yeah.
Did that work?
All right. Okay, I'm gonna kill the
There
stream
you
so
go.
I can start doing some editing. You good with that?
Yep.
All right, then. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. See you next week.